No Godzilla. Mechagodzilla. Godzilla!
Are y'all ready? What? Yeah! Y'all ready to play some football? Just let's go! If you want it, you can get it. Let me know.
What's going on, people? LP2000 right back at you with another figure review, and today I'm doing an X-Plus figure review. My God, it feels like it's been forever since I've done an X-Plus figure review. I know I've done a couple videos since the last one, and which was, y'all know, this big fat guy back here. It's been on some months. Wow, that feels like a long time. But you know what? I'm back again. You can't keep a good brother down. And I'm back again with the X-Plus 30cm Mechagodzilla 1975 Ric Boy edition from the awesome classic iconic film that closed out the Godzilla Showa film series, Terror Mechagodzilla. As you can see, I got the awesome, magnificent figure here, as well as the box here, as well as his Ric Boy components, which I will explain in a couple seconds. But let's get into the box before we get into the awesome figure. And this is the box. And I'm glad they're going back with the throwback, you know what I mean? Because the 1974 30cm Mechagodzilla figure from X-Plus pretty much had almost the same artwork with the blue tint in the back. It was more sky blue, but I like it. You know what I'm saying? With the picture of the figure at the front right here, his face in the back, Mechagodzilla 1975, the Ric Boy sticker signifying it is a Ric Boy. The only thing that's different is that it doesn't have the Japanese language title of the film, which normally being right here in this area, but decided to slap 1975, whatever. Something new, you know, and old mixed with the new, and I do like that. I do like the throwback right here with the box. So this is really awesome. And with your legal jargon on the back, and I'm not going to toss it. I know it's kind of like a staple here on the channel, but you know what? I'm gonna keep it. I like the box. I do. I really do like this box. I'm gonna keep it. Sorry, Christopher and whoever out there who love to see my box tosses, but you know what? I gotta keep this one. I'm gonna keep it. So that's how we roll around here. So let's just you know, you're safe. You're safe for now. All right, so let's get into this awesome figure. Yes, Mechagodzilla 1975. Oh my God. And this is more so of an unexpected hit, in my opinion. Kind of like Batra that came out in May. I didn't expect Batra to be so awesome when I got him, and Mechagodzilla 1975 goes into that same category. This figure is really awesome. There's not much of a backstory about this figure, honestly. The only thing I can really tell you that it was announced like 3 or 4 months ago. They decided that they were going to bring forth the 30cm Mechagodzilla 1975. Mind you, they released a 25cm, or they reissued a 25cm Mechagodzilla 75. It was a reissue and was made out of resin, the Real Masters Collection from X-Plus. They released a 25cm 75 years earlier, but they reissued that in resin form late last year. And I almost came close to buying it, but you know me, I want the bigger figures, you know what I mean? And that's why I really didn't bite the bullet on buying that figure. But when they announced they were gonna release this figure in 30cm form, I was all over it, you know what I mean? And this is the Ric Boy edition. It comes with the brain attachment. Also comes with a light up feature, which I will demonstrate later on. Basically, you can alternate the head, so you can put the brain inside the socket here, and it will light up. I would do that now, but it's kind of hard to get the head off sometimes, so I'm not going to mess with it. I don't want to damage the figure, whatever. And that's another thing. If you get this figure, the Ric Boy, please be careful when it comes to the head. You don't want to damage it. Just, you know, it's not easy, but then again, it's not hard to pop it off and exchange the heads, but just be more mindful with your grip. You don't want to damage anything. It also comes with this nose trimmer. Yeah, this nose trimmer. So yeah, for the battery pack. But you know what? It's good. It's good. So yes, these are welcome additions for the Ric Boy. First off, let me get a huge shout out to Jamie Davies from Japanese, Toy Explosion, Japanese Toy and Figure Services. Thank you for helping me get this figure. I really do appreciate it. I really do appreciate my man. And with this figure, you know, they're almost done with the complete lineup from that movie. Far as X-Plus is concerned, in both scales. The only thing we're missing now is the 25 centimeter Titanosaurus to go on the 25 centimeter line, or we need a 30 centimeter Godzilla 1975 to complete this lineup for the 30s. So out of the two, I would like to see a 30 centimeter 1975. You know what I mean? The 25 centimeter 75, it's okay. It's not perfect, but they could have done a better job in my opinion. So I would like to see a 30 centimeter 75, a proper one, maybe with his arms up like this, like he's ready to fight, like he was in the film, closed mouth or whatever. So they're bringing some great closed mouth figures like the Sakai 91, you know, whatever. So hopefully be closed mouth. But obviously, if they made this 30 centimeter 75 when they just not too long ago reissued the 25 centimeter 75, trust me, those monsters are coming in just a matter of time. So let's get up close and personal with this figure. Matter of fact, let's go into size comparisons. I'm gonna do the size comparison while I do up close and personal. And what better start off with his 1974 Mechagodzilla counterpart to see how he stacks up with this new awesome guy right here. All right, let's go. Okay, folks, here we are up close and personal with the man of the hour, Mechagodzilla 1975. And of course, let's start with size comparisons, or just comparison in general with his 1974 counterpart, Mechagodzilla from Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 1974. Both pieces are really, really awesome, and it really just really showcases how both figures, at least both suits, were different. Because I was in that camp for a long, long time. I thought that the 74 and 75 suits were one and the same, but as you can see, they're really not. Of course, that's been documented a long time ago, but there are subtle differences between the two. Whatever. First, the finger missiles are longer on 75. He has more of a darker paint scheme on his metal. Obviously, because in the film, you know, his wreckage was found at the bottom of the ocean after the events of the 74 film. So of course, you know, being submerged in water and brought back to land, you know, he does have a more battle weary look on him, which I really do enjoy. That's one thing about Mechagodzilla 1975 and 74. The Showa Mechagodzilla is undoubtedly my favorite version of Mechagodzilla. But I would have to say my favorite out of two is really both of them, because I enjoyed the performance of 74, but I love the look of 75. He has more of just a sinister look. I don't know what they did and how they did it to make the suit look really look more sinister, but they did. You know what I mean? And you can tell by at least the faces right here. It's no different than what they did with Godzilla 1965 from Monster Zero and Godzilla 1966 from Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster. Even though it's the same suit, in 66, he looked just a little bit meaner. I don't know what they did, but they were able to change the brow or a little bit, and it just made the suit look more meaner and more menacing in 66 versus 65. The same thing with the Godzilla 1974 and 75 suit. It's the same suit, but they made the suit look more menacing. Like I mentioned, it looks more menacing and just not exactly evil, but just look mean looking 75 versus 74. But yes, there are some major differences between the two. I guess on the surface, you know, it look like they don't really have much differences, but as you can see, they do have differences. Like I said, the missiles are different. They're longer on the 75. Of course, he has the symbol MG2 on his arm, the 75 version, versus where the 74 has just MG. The 74 has a more polished look, a more shiny look, like it was in the film, and in a way, it kind of like demonstrates the tone of both films, which I will explain later on. Of course, there are a lot more differences, but of course the tails, you know, you see the bolts right here in the tail of 75, but there's no bolts in the tail of 74. Let's go back here towards the back with the dorsal plates. Dorsal plates looks pretty much the same in a way. There are some differences, but just minor tweaks here and there, whatever. Yes, this is awesome. It really, really is. Also, this red part right here, I don't know what it's called, but it's lighter here on the 74 and it's darker here on the 75. I guess it's because it's a different piece of plastic. It's more of a shiny plastic. Let's see from the back view right here. And actually the 74 is a little bit thicker for its girth. It's a little bit wider versus the 75 is more slimmer of the two. And honestly, I don't know if that's how it was in the films, you know, because both Mechagodzilla suits were not on screen, obviously. And I don't know if they made a new suit with 75 out of 74, a brand new suit, or they just took existing parts of the 74 and just modified it into a different looking suit in 75. I don't know what they did, but whatever they did, they were able to at least have some distinguished factors, excuse me, between the two. Can't talk today. I'm just excited because I got this figure. I got it yesterday. But yes, this is amazing. This is just an awesome figure. It really is. And when you put them side by side with 74, it just really is awesome. Superb. X-Plus did a great job with this figure, this 75 figure. And the light up features is really great. You know what I mean? The light up features, like I said, his eyes do light up. And it's just an impressive light up. Like the guy in 1972, Rick, that came out last year. I'm not too big on light ups, but light up like that and this light up here is really good. And all you have to do is just basically take the nose trimmer and just install it into the port right here. And that's a good thing. They didn't install the port to attach the battery pack to the figure, like to the heel, to the back of the calf. They put it right here, so it won't be too noticeable when you try to activate the Ric Boy option. I think that was a great idea, a new idea, which is awesome. Really is awesome. So yes, this figure is amazing. Yes, it is. I highly recommend you get it, whether it's the Ric Boy or the standard. If you can get the Ric Boy, try and go after that one. You would not be disappointed. But yes, the figure is amazing. It's perfect to the suit. You know, whatever. Like I mentioned before, when it's up against 74, the 74 looks shinier, a little bit thicker in some areas, but maybe that's how it was. But there's no way to know that. So, but until then, X-Plus, you get an A+, absolute A+, and you're just amazing. Like I said, this was something. I knew Mechagodzilla 75 was coming out, and I was like, oh yeah, great. I mean, I wasn't anticipated immensely like I was that guy in the back right there, the 62 gigantic. And I wasn't anticipating. I wasn't anticipating it that much. Where I was like on the edge of my seat every single day. But now I have it. This guy is really amazing. It's exceeded all my expectations. Yes, and I can't wait until they finish the lineup in both scales. But like I said, X-Plus, if you're listening, do the 75 Godzilla 30 centimeter first. All right, let's do I think 2 more size comparisons, and we'll wrap this review up. All right, sit tight. Okay, folks, here's another size comparison, and I have another version of Mechagodzilla 1975, and I have my Billiken kit of Mechagodzilla 1975. I'm sure you've seen it in other videos, whatever, but of course I couldn't do a video pertaining to Mechagodzilla 1975, at least an X-Plus version, without doing a comparison with another version of Mechagodzilla 1975. As you can see, it's debatable because a lot of folks have been talking about that on the Facebook groups that I'm a part of, the X-Plus Collectors Facebook group, the Godzilla Collectors Facebook group, and other Facebook groups. Whether the Billiken is more suit accurate scope-wise than the X-Plus version. Now, I know I've said that in my 92 X-Plus Godzilla 30 centimeter figure review, that the 92 Billiken is a little bit better as far as like sculpt wise, and I think the 30 centimeter 1975 Billiken kit kind of stacks up better with the 25 centimeter 75 from X-Plus. So it just depends on your perspective here. Honestly, after seeing these two together, of course I love the Billiken, and I think the only thing Billiken has over the X-Plus version is the fact that his finger missiles are really big, and they're made of metal. You know what I mean? It's a good size here. Hold on, is it the same size? You know what? They're the same size. There you go. Oh man, I think these just a little bit bigger, so I would prefer putting these figure missiles on the X-Plus version. But you know what? It's awesome. It really is awesome. Burley Vane made this. Holla at him, great guy. Had to give him a shout out. But yes, these are great representations of Mechagodzilla 1975. So, of course, he has more of a battle where we look on this one versus the 75 X-Plus, but they're both awesome. So in my opinion, let's see. I don't know. It's a toss-up. I'll tell you what, why don't y'all pop down in the comment section what do you think is more accurate, whatever. Billiken or X-Plus 75. Either way, they both get an A+ for effort. Alright? Let's do one more size comparison and we'll be done and out the door. Alright, sit tight. Okay, folks, this is the last size comparison. Thank y'all for hanging there with me. And of course, I couldn't finish this off without his Terror of Mechagodzilla co-stars. Of course, I'm talking about the 30 centimeter X-Plus Titanosaurus. And this is a Billiken kit of Godzilla 1975. Once again, X-Plus made this happen. And as you can see, they scale well with each other. Matter of fact, hold on. Let's do the Ric Boy. There you go. That's awesome. There you go. See that? See that? There you go. He's looking down at Godzilla. He's going to get you. Alright, so yes, this is it with the size comparison. And as you can see, both Titanosaurus and Mechagodzilla are perfect with each other. Of course, Titanosaurus was taller because of this fish fin he got on top of his head, as well as his antennas. Godzilla is in perfect scale here because Godzilla was the smaller of the three monsters. You know what I mean? He wasn't at eye level with Mechagodzilla. Then again, he wasn't at eye level in the 74 film either. And of course, his head came up to Titanosaurus's neck right here. So this is actually perfect. I'm sure though there are those who will debate that fact, but after seeing Terror Mechagodzilla so many different times, I have to say this is accurate. So it's only a matter of time. Hopefully, we'll get a 30 centimeter 1975 Godzilla, or this will make Godzilla fan freaks ever gone and happy if they make a 25 centimeter X-Plus Titanosaurus. Either way, make it happen. I'm sure they will. Like I said, with the creation of this figure, it's only a matter of time before they finish the lineup. I think it's what they're doing. I think it's what X-Plus is doing. So basically, it's not a question of if, it's just a question of when. So when that happens, I'm going to be there to get it. Until then, I just have this to look at. So yes, the total monster lineup from Terror of Mechagodzilla. So awesome X-Plus. You did a great job with this guy. You sure did. So all right, so let's just finish this review up. And thank y'all so much for hanging there with me so far. All right, let's go. Okay, folks, I'm back with my my thoughts of Terror Mechagodzilla. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'm going to talk about the differences or the similarities between both Mechagodzilla Showa films. As you already know, as I mentioned before, Mechagodzilla from the Showa era is my favorite version. Mechagodzilla, I prefer the performance, like I mentioned, of 74, but I love the look of 75 better. And it's funny when you think about these two films, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 1974, Terror Mechagodzilla 1975. It's the really two films in the Showa film series that has continuity. Of course, it had continuity in the Heisei series. Millennium series was pretty much reboots. Of course, ironically, the two Mechagodzilla films, the Millennium series, are basically one is a sequel to the other one, kind of like this one. But with the Showa series, it's really all over the place with the way they took Godzilla in different characterizations. And there is loose continuity in some of those films, like Mothra vs. Godzilla, Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, Godzilla vs. Monster Zero. But this was an established continuity, since this film, Terror Mechagodzilla, was a direct sequel from Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 1974. And if you look at both films, one was directed by one director, another one was directed by a different one. Jun Fukuda, he directed 74. Inoshiro Honda directed 1975. And if you look at both, if you look at films that both of those directors have done, in my opinion, this is my opinion, you can see their styles in their films. Because, of course, Inoshiro Honda did like a lot of Godzilla films, as well as Toho films or whatever. Jun Fukuda, excuse me, He only did like maybe a handful, but the ones he did were really, really awesome. But the ones he has done, as far as Godzilla films, from what I understand, is Godzilla vs. Sea Monster, Son of Godzilla, Godzilla vs. Guy again, Godzilla vs. Megalon, and of course Godzilla Mechagodzilla. Inoshiro Honda, of course, did the original Godzilla, King Kong vs. Godzilla, Mothra vs. Godzilla, Water Gargantua, just all these films. And I would classify Jun Fukuda's films as more so fun films. You know what I mean? You can have a good time with them. There's not a lot going on with the plot, or not a lot of thought-provoking themes going on in the plot. It's just basically straight-up fun films. There's nothing wrong with that, and I'm not trying to bash films when I say that or give it less credit, because I hold those films in really, really high regard. As a matter of fact, like I mentioned before in other videos, Godzilla vs. Guy again is my second favorite Godzilla film of all time, because it's just a straight-up fun film. Now, going into Shiro Honda, and of course, you know, he's like, you know, perceived as the best, like, a film director when it comes to Godzilla. And a lot of his films are really thought-provoking, a lot of things in his films going on or whatever. You know, of course, you got the original Godzilla 1954 with a lot of messages in that film. Water Gargantua, you know what I'm saying, at the end with the fight, it wasn't straight up like fight where both combatants wanted to kill each other. There was a lot of personal turmoil in Sander wanting to fight Gaara, stuff like that. Just there's a lot of just messages in his films, and you can see it in both films. You know what I'm saying? Both Mechagodzilla films. They're really similar in a lot of ways. Both feature Mechagodzilla as a villain. Both have great action, lots of explosions, great special effects. Both have great amounts, at least a good amounts of monster action, really violent action. You know, whether Godzilla bleeding in 1974 or him being kicked like a football in 1975. Both featured a climatic battle involving 3 monsters, where it's a 2-on-1 situation. And it also featured 2 of the monsters in a preliminary fight before the final battle. So there are some similarities there, you know what I mean? Of course, there are differences. You know, of course, in 1974, the monster action is spliced throughout the film, where you get monster action throughout the film, you know what I'm saying? Versus 75, they hold all the action towards the tail end, you know what I mean? I would say 74 is like lighthearted and campy, and like I said, a fun film despite the blood gushing. But this one, 75, is a little bit more darker and a little bit more serious. With 74, you come away from the film after you watched it happy, because everything has been done. The aliens have been defeated. Mechagodzilla has been defeated. Godzilla survives another day, and he goes back to the ocean. With 75, you know, even though Godzilla wins, it's a bittersweet victory because of the old Katsura tragedy, which goes back to what I said about Inoshiro Honda, the fact he has a lot of provocative things in his film, and the fact that the fact with Katsura having that personal turmoil within herself, whether she should show loyalty to her father or towards the man that she loves or she thinks she's falling in love with, and all that really plays into the finish of the film. That's really, really, really great storytelling. You know what I mean? So, but yes, I think these films complement each other really, really, really well. You know what I mean? And it just baffled to me why this film, Terra Mechagodzilla, was the least successful. You know what I mean? But I can understand, you know, by the fact that they put all the monster action towards the tail end. As a matter of fact, Godzilla's not even part of the plot that much, you know, whatever. In fact, his name is only mentioned like maybe 3 or 4 times. He's not involved more so in the plot at the beginning of the film. You know what I'm saying? He only shows up at the end. He's basically a deterrent. He just comes in, kicks butt, and then goes back. That's basically all Godzilla. That's all his role is in this film. He plays more of a bigger role in 74, you know, whatever. Of course, it's the introduction of Mechagodzilla. They had to use Godzilla as basis for them to make a super robot. I mean, well, of course, we see Mechagodzilla disguised as Godzilla, you know, rampage his way through Japan or whatever. So we get a good amounts of Godzilla action, whether it's disguised Mechagodzilla or the real Godzilla himself. Versus 75, we don't see that much of him until like the very end. But you know what? I think both of these films complement each other. There are some things that 74 did better than 75, and there are things that 75 did better than 74. I have to say, as far as like 74, I like 74. Out of the 2 films, I like 74 better because they put some monster action spliced throughout the film, versus you have to wait for a long time towards the very end in 75. I can do that, but I don't think a lot of folks be willing to have that much patience, you know what I mean? But like I said, I think 74 did a good job with the pacing, with the amount of monster action that you get from the early going or whatever. 75, I think, had a better fight scene, even though 74 had a great fight scene with King Caesar and King Caesar, Mechagodzilla, and Godzilla. But to me, that fight was all Mechagodzilla, in my opinion. It was 80% Mechagodzilla, where King Caesar and Godzilla gave up the 20%. Of course, they won, but still, that fight was all Mechagodzilla. In 75, all three monsters had some time to shine, where the Titanosaurus kicking Godzilla's butt, Godzilla kicking Titanosaurus' butt, Godzilla kicking Mechagodzilla's butt, then going back kicking Titanosaurus' butt again. All these monsters had a time to shine, and it was just a great fight scene. I think 74 did a poor job. I mean, it did a great job dedicating the King Caesar storyline, but the payoff of his appearance, what he did, is kind of like lackluster. Where in 75, where the story, if it's not about Godzilla, Mechagodzilla involved Titanosaurus, they did a good job with the payoff with Titanosaurus, because he was really impressive. He was a show stealer in 75, but I can't say the same for King Caesar. You know what I mean? It's just so many different things about these two films, and they just complement each other so well. You can't have one without the other one, in my opinion. Like I said, I like 74 just a little bit better because of the monster action. Had a little bit more monster action with Mechagodzilla, maybe I would like Mechagodzilla more or whatever. I still love the film. Don't get me wrong, I still love the film, but out of two, I prefer 74. But as far as the look of Mechagodzilla, I prefer 75. And that's the thing about that's the main thing about 75 that I have a gripe with. The fact that Mechagodzilla wasn't his former self in the original film. You know what I mean? Because in 74, he was a complete monster. He was just an unstoppable force. He was able to beat down both King Caesar and Godzilla until the numbers game got caught up with him. But in 75, there are the times he just stands back there and let Titanosaurus fight Godzilla. And I've said this many times before, had these two attacked in unison, all due respect to Godzilla, he would not be able to survive this attack. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? If it's the robot from 74 with his performance, like I said, attacking along with Titanosaurus at the same time, there's no way Godzilla could have survived that. There's just no way. I'm just speaking facts here, at least from my perspective. That's the only one gripe I have with Mechagodzilla, ironically, is Mechagodzilla himself, his performance. But I do love the suit. I do love his look. I just wish that he could have been a little bit more menacing and just like he was in 74. But it was awesome to finally see him in a city situation, tearing up buildings with his weapons and stuff like that. And it was great. And then when finally Godzilla comes to stop both of them, it's an awesome fight scene from beginning to end, you know, whatever. Even though my gripes with Mechagodzilla is him standing back, not doing anything. But you know what? It's a movie. And you know what? It's one of the best Godzilla films of all time, in my opinion. You know what I mean? And like I mentioned before, both films complement each other, and then they're awesome in so many different levels. And if you're a fan of Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla over Terra Mechagodzilla, I can understand. Or if you're a fan of Terra Mechagodzilla over Godzilla Mechagodzilla 1974, I can understand that. But you know what? One can't be done without the other one. You know what I mean? So if you so I implore you, watch those two films. But watch Godzilla Mechagodzilla 1974 first, and then that way you understand what's more so what's going on in the 75 film. Okay, not be disappointed. Okay, so that pretty much concludes my review of the X-Plus 30cm Mechagodzilla 1975 Ric Boy edition from the iconic film that closed out the Godzilla Showa film series, Terror of Mechagodzilla. If you have any questions, holler me down in the comment section or hit me up on Facebook, Very Mark Calloway, and we definitely go from there. Oh my God, this is so awesome. This is an amazing piece. If you got it, or if you want to get it, go online right now. He got released, I think, early in August. But like I said, I just got mine like yesterday. So he's still out there for a good price. Just do your research or whatever. But out of the two, I would say try and get the Ric Boy, because the Ric Boy options is really great, especially with the brain attachment or whatever. It really is awesome. Even if the lights doesn't work, because I heard that like in some people's figures that the brain apparatus don't really work all the way. But which is unfortunate, but it still is an awesome piece to have. You know what I mean? So try and get the Ric Boy if you can. If not, go for the standard. Either way, you cannot go wrong with this figure. 30cm Mechagodzilla 1975 from X-Plus. All right. I thank y'all for watching. I appreciate it, and I will see y'all again on this figure and movie review. All right. Y'all take it easy.